In today's video, I'm going to be doing a mythic tier list. For now, we're going to start with the mythic one. Just to get it out of the way, Lelouch is going to be the only S+, and the reason why Lelouch is S+, is because Lelouch can summon soldiers that do pierce damage, and they summon really fast, and Lelouch's ability spawns a mech that has a very large ranged AoE move. Enemies get close to the base, Lelouch goes overdrive and starts spawning more. Of course, Lelouch is the rarest unit in the game by so much, and almost unattainable. So, of course, just keep that in mind if you think you should start going for Lelouch. First up, we have Akainu. Now, we're going to put Akainu at S. The reason is because Akainu has the highest damage in the game currently. His SPA is not ideal, but he has just a little bit under the range of Broly. He has high SPA and he has a great burn move. Next up, we have All Might. Now, All Might is either low S or very high A. The reason is because All Might is very useful for leaderboard runs. You're going to need that knockback to stall to get those extra waves. So for now, we're going to put him at S. And like I just said, why? Because of his knockback. Next up, we have Madara. Madara is an A unit. Madara did get pushed out of the meta because already Broly was a better damage unit. And then Shanks and Akainu came out who are both better than Madara, which kind of left Madara kind of getting pushed down by the power creep. Next up, we have Whitebeard. I think Whitebeard is also a very solid A. Of course, he has great damage that's kind of close up to Akainu and Madara, but he also has an ability that does make a tsunami, which does push back enemies, kind of like All Might. But I do believe that All Might is just a better version of him, which is why he's A. Next up, we have Shanks. Shanks is another S tier, probably the best unit in the game besides Lelouch in my opinion. The reason is because Shanks has the best damage per second, and he also has a full AoE ability stun. So I think he is definitely probably the best unit in the game. Next up, we have Broly. Broly is another S tier, and the reason why Broly is an S tier is because of his absurd damage and his range. His range is so big and he's full AoE that he is so great for infinite runs that he is a must-have. Next up, we have Armin. Armin is, there should be a category lower for him. Armin is so terrible. Please never roll on an Armin banner. Even if you're rolling for the Legendary and you accidentally get Armin, you're gonna feel so terrible. Armin is so bad. The reason why Armin is so bad is he attacks like every 40 or 60 seconds and does 4,000 damage. Now keep in mind, Shanks does like 6,000 damage every 3.4 seconds. This guy is just not it, and definitely you do not want him. Next up, we have Diavolo. I want to put Diavolo at C tier. The reason why I'm putting Diavolo there is because Diavolo just kind of got pushed out of the meta. Diavolo had a universal time stop, full AoE, but with all the new units, like, Dio is just a better alternative to Diavolo. You'd rather have a Dio than a Diavolo because of the cooldowns. Next up, Katakuri. Katakuri is an easy S. The reason why is because Katakuri has a very unique ability in this game. When Katakuri is evolved, he slows every single time he attacks. And this slow is super necessary for leaderboard runs, and so that's why Katakuri is an S. Next up, we have Levi. Now, I would put Levi at A, high A, low S. I know people don't think highly of him, but Levi is a must-have for really long leaderboard runs. We're talking about these infinite runs that you're gonna get on the leaderboard with. Levi's really good for certain maps because Levi is the best boss killer in the game. You put Levi on strongest and hope you get crits, and he is going to do the most damage to bosses. I'm going to put Rengoku at C, just like I did with Diavolo. The only thing that was good about Rengoku before the update was their burn, but now with Akainu, who just has a better burn, Rengoku totally got pushed out of the meta and is just not useful anymore. Alright, now we're going to go into the Legendaries, which I am going to include Ace in the Legendaries. So to start off, we have Giorno. Now I want to put Giorno at A, and the only reason I'm not putting Giorno at S is because Giorno was only good for dealing with story mode, and I guess a few infinites until you get mythics. Giorno is the best damage dealing legendary in the game, so he can certainly carry you through story, but as soon as you get down and you start getting mythics, it becomes completely useless. Next up, Irwin. Irwin is an obvious S. Irwin is a must-have for leaderboard runs and early game. The horses really help you out in the early game, and if you get a sniper trade on him and leaderboard runs, his buff is absolutely amazing. That 25% buff, it is a must-have. Goku Black. I'm gonna put Goku Black at probably C or D. I'd say high D or low C. I guess we'll put him at C for now. Goku Black is really bad. The only thing good about him is his AoE circle, range, and SPA, but his damage is just not there, and definitely not a unit you want. Next up, we have Goku Blue. Now, Goku Blue is probably a low A tier. The reason is because Goku Blue is kind of like the opposite of Goku Black, has good AoE circle, has good range, and also has good damage. So he's kind of just like a mediocre unit. Next up, we have Kizaru. I'm going to put Kizaru at C, because Kizaru, of course Kizaru has a big circle AoE and decent SPA, but his damage is terrible. A lot of these units just don't have the damage you're looking for, and definitely are not it. Next up, we have Pain. Pain is going to be A tier, and the reason why I put Pain at A is because Pain does knockback at a certain upgrade. Now, it costs a lot of money to get to, but before you get All Might, Pain is definitely a great alternative. Next up, we have Bulma. Bulma is 100% in S tier. Bulma is the best money unit in the game, used in infinite runs all the time, so for sure you're going to want to get Bulma for that extra money. Blackbeard. Blackbeard is another S tier. Blackbeard's ability to make a curse, which makes enemies take 1 to 1.5 times more damage, is amazing and definitely a must-have. Next up, we have Eren. I want to put Eren at D tier. You can only place 2, and of course, Eren summons these little titans with like 300 HP, and a big one with like 1,000 every like 30 seconds or something. Just understand that they're slow, they don't have a lot of HP. Irwin is like 100 times better, so I would not roll on an Eren banner. Definitely not a good unit. Hitachi, I want to put Hitachi right with Goku Black. They have similar stats. The only thing Hitachi has is that burn, so they're both very bad. Next up, Dio. Dio is going to be our final S tier for these legendaries. Dio is a must-have in certain leaderboard runs, especially like Marines Forward, because of Smoka, you need the time stops to be able to kill him. Next up, Mihawk. I'm going to put Mihawk at B tier. He has below average damage, good range, and his line AoE is not the best. So he's kind of just in the middle of the pack, you know, like if you have him, you have him, but preferably you get better units than him. Dobby. Dobby is going to be the other D tier unit. Dobby is the worst unit, the worst legendary in the game. Very bad DPS, range, and he has high SPA. All he has is that big AoE circle, which does not make up for his other stats. Finally, we have Ace. I want to put Ace at A tier. The reason why I'm putting Ace there instead of B tier is because Ace is a very solid unit before you get Mythics, if you have Bulma or Speedwagon. If you don't have Bulma or Speedwagon, Ace is going to be too expensive for you to upgrade and not worth your time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Of course, my Discord is linked in the description if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.